Hey, happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome. You are on the Heart of Success show, and I'm your host, Larissa Vakulina. I go live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. South Australian time, and I'm so glad you joining me. And if you want to leave your name and comments, you're welcome. If you're gonna to reply later, just put hashtag and reply. So this show is all about success, and very often and many times we perceive success only through the lens of how much money we make or how much possessions we have, and we really ignore all the other areas of our life, and we don't see them as the areas that we can succeed as well. So today I choose a very important topic about how we build relationship with our children. I know myself how successful entrepreneurs and successful business leaders are so busy and so involved in building businesses, in providing for their families, that they don't have time, energy, resources, or emotional availability for our own children. So I found myself very often in a place where I was so exhausted, and I was actually catching myself on that space within myself that was like, is this is not enough for my family, that I'm already building financial stability and providing everything. What else can I give if I am so involved in business and building success? So this topic is really emotional for me, because when I'm looking back, I found myself not being always available for my children. So I just was choosing this topic today because I'm noticing and observing how many successful entrepreneurs and business leaders and all of the people that are so involved in building businesses or in building professional careers, that they spending all their energy and time onto that building. So and I was just asking myself a question, or many people that I know, that when I observe, they, isn't it that the reason that we create businesses and success? Isn't it that this is our whys? Children and our families is our why, that we go and stretch ourselves and create all of this financial stability and all of this building the possessions, and so that we can provide for our children. But at the same time, we're really forgetting and ignoring that to buy a latest version of the iPhone or iPad for the child and buy the new clothing for the child is really important, but is not as important as our emotional connection to children. I remember when I was building my business, and I was so busy and tired, and I was exhausted, and I really had that problem with my sleep. And one of my sons, at the age of 11 or 12, came to me late at night because he couldn't sleep, and he was crying and saying to me, I really need to talk to my father. But the father was part of the business, and he was living in another country, and it was not possible. So, and now looking back, I couldn't handle these feelings of my child, because I was not really connected myself emotionally at that stage. And I was almost feeling that little anger coming up and thinking to myself, well, what this child needs, what this child wants, I provide everything. And I can't remember how I handled it, but I remember that there was no real emotional connection between me and my son. So I learned and realized already through going through the years of working on myself and going through the process and learning through all of these errors and distortions within myself, that the children's feelings are very valid, and we really cannot ignore that. So what I have these dot points, what I'm going to talk about, because it's really emotional topic for me, and I can be off track here. And so I want to talk today about 6 important points within the relationship with our children. So I can see how many people coming in, and thank you so much. I'm so glad you here with me. Your support is really very important to me. So I would like to list these 6 highlights that I think are very, very important for people to start to pay attention to. When we so busy and create our wealth, we forget about real emotional connection to our children. So the 6 highlights is that we need to stop having expectations from our children. We cannot have our own agenda of how our child needs to be, or how that child needs to behave in terms of our own plan for how that child needs to be. So your child owes nothing to you, owes you nothing. So this is something that I learned later in my life. But we, for some reason, think that this is my child and I possess the child and I can do anything I want because that's my possession. So we forget that every child is a independent and a separated entity, a separated human being. So our task is really just provide love and trust to that child. So provide love and trust to these children, because they have a feelings, and these feelings sometimes we ignore and we suppress, or we really just don't want to look at them, because it is taking us off our main tasks of providing. So the third one is we have to provide healthy support and guide by our own model, by our own demonstration of what values we would like our children to have. We have to first develop these values in ourselves. If we want to be deeply connected with others, we need to first develop that connection within ourselves, to ourselves first, because how we can connect to others if we emotionally not connect to ourselves, we cannot connect to others and our children as well. So the fifth one is build healthy boundaries. This is so important. Many times I'm observing how families, how parents and grandparents and members of the family invading boundaries of their children. And also notice and learn from children. You can learn so much even for your own life, for your own growth. So I go now one by one and elaborate on all of these points in a little bit of wider and deeper sense, and providing you with my own experience. So stop having expectations. Stop having expectations of how the child needs to be. I remember I had in my mind the careers or who my children needs to be. It's like also it is a part of that traditional cultural makeup that we all have. And in my culture, we kind of we build up the career for our children. We design the careers and what our children needs to do in order to be successful or in order to make more money. So I was back then in such a space, in that cultural upbringing, how I was experiencing that. So, and I was having some, was having these expectations that my children needs to be a certain way. So, and when things happen in a different way, I just I was confused. And I remember time when my one of my sons was 2 years. Into finishing his high school, and he called me and his father together to sit down, and he wanted to talk to us, and he tell us that he wants to drop school. So that was really shocking news, because again, when I'm talking about cultural perception of family relationships, so children cannot do it, because education is everything. Education is something that we are all it's a paramount in my country back then, and really I think in all our society, education is something that we worship, and we all want to have education. And I'm not telling that it's bad or something, but dropping school in the middle of not finishing it, it was really shocking to realize. And in the first instance, I was feeling really frustrated. I was feeling angry. I was feeling that how that could happen to my family, how that could happen to me, the super mother, the mother that is successful, that always studying, and universities and all of these institutions. And how is my child telling me that he doesn't want to finish school? And I was also having this feeling of like how other people would judge, or how other people would have attitude to it. Like how would others see me and my family when my child is dropping school? So, but all of these dynamics been going on, and it was really confusing, and it was really frustrating. But at that moment, I had this guidance. I had this guidance within that basically was telling me, like, trust him, trust him. And also, before I was just tell him something, I was having this voice telling to me, trust him. And then when he proceeded and told us that, I understand you parents are shocked to realize that I'm going to drop school, but I have this passion for my rollerblading, and I would like to go and travel to America and compete with other bladers. And for me, that was another shocking and confusing news. It's like, the street the street sport, how can you compete in that? It's like this is nothing. So my ego was really hurt, but that voice that was telling me trust him, I just said to him, no, son, you already made decision, and doesn't matter what we are gonna to tell you now, you're gonna to do it. And if we not agreeing, and if we tell you off right now, it's gonna be so hard on everyone, on us, on you. I'm gonna to tell you, okay, you do what you plan, and I'm gonna to support you, and I'm gonna to trust you. So that was a very big step for me to take in relationship, to see in my son his own passion and desire, knowing that I'm running the risk that possibly he would just be taken into wrong direction with this street sport. But I trusted. And in a couple of years' time, when he was traveling a few times to America to compete, he became he became within first 10 rollerbladers in the world. And he became a very famous teenager within our state, and teenagers loved him. And other teenagers, they also created a company, a business that was focusing on selling rollerblades and all the gears. And my son, at the age of 15 and 16, was already having some sponsorship with these companies that been supplying him new rollerblades and new gears that he can advertise for others. And one day I was interested to know more about what these young people doing, how they actually running the business or what they doing. And I realized that this business was a non-profit business. And what they did, they would go around Australia on rollerblades with some supportive truck with them, taking all the gears, and they would stop in small towns that they will go, and they would assemble this big deep that the rollerblading teenagers been using for jumping and all of these crazy things. And they would have the show for this little town to have through this rollerblading activities. And they would ask for some donations. And they said that these donations that they've been asking people to give them, these donations were for sick children. When I learned this, back then, I really didn't understand. I really was shocked to realize that these young people going through their own learning process and having these physical challenges of rollerblading, and they've been collecting money to support sick children. So, and I remember I was sitting with myself with this realization, and I was just saying to myself, well, if this guy is doing this at the age of 16, 15, 17, they're gonna be okay in their lives. So I trusted my son. And so there was another kind of page or chapter in his life where he went back to school and finished it, where he went to the university and got his education in international business. And now he's a successful business leader, and he's running a business and have 4 children by himself. So I would like to recommend to you, and I would like to really sit with this example. And I know how difficult for us, for parents, to really see and trust our children, because we know better, because we lived longer lives. But it's not our life anymore. Our children are separated entities. It is their own life. And we need to allow them to be who they are. This is the best gift we can give to our children. So provide healthy support and guide by modeling the values. So what I'm seeing a lot is that parents would like children to be successful in their studies and achieve this and that and in sport. But they're not modeling themselves all of this. They really within themselves, they not supporting what they asking from their children to have by themselves. So this is really a separated demand and request from children. So if we want them to be loving, kind, if we want them to be having a healthy level of responsibility, if we want to have them a really open approach to life and balanced approach to themselves and others, we need to display that first. So the next point is build healthy boundaries. This is really important one. I also went through learning about all of this and looking back at when I was with my children, I think I was breaking and invading their boundaries a lot of times, but I didn't have awareness of it. And now, when I have awareness of that, the boundary is so important, and this is really is creating and molding the future relationships for our children with the same gender or the opposite sex. So I just would like to share with you another story that was really a very powerful story for me and for my family. As you know, I have 6 grandchildren and I have only one granddaughter. So all the others are boys. And it is a very interesting dynamic within our family that the girl is a light in our family. And obviously, we all love her to bits and we love boys, but the girl is something very different. And especially for grandfather. The grandfather is so loving this girl, this granddaughter, that he can do anything for her. She is wrapping his heart in her little finger, and every time they together, I was observing since she was 4-year-old and 3-year-old, they always cuddling and they always hugging and kissing and playing. And when she was 3 and 4, that was really nice to observe and see how she was also open to this. Hugs and loves and all of this expression of the love. But during her growth, up to 6 and 7 and 8 years old, what I start to notice is that anytime the grandfather want to come run to her and hug her and kiss her, she would contract within herself, and she would kind of, she would become a really not comfortable. But the grandfather would still grab her and, kiss her and hug her. And I could see how that was not really comfortable for her. And grandfather didn't really even notice that. So when she left that, she was leaving, and I was by myself with, my ex. I talked to him and I said, you know what, have you ever noticed since she's growing up, every time you go and want to hug and kiss her, she's contracting, she is making herself very small. Don't you see that dynamics going on? He said, well, she is playing. Like, he didn't even connect her state that she is in discomfort. I said, no. You know what? Children up to 7-year-old and up, 8 and 9, building their own energy bodies, their own subtle bodies. They start to separate themselves from the auric field of their parents, and they build separated energy bodies. And it is quite painful when other people are invading it. So when I told him that, he was so shocked. Oh my God, what I'm doing. Sure, of course, I need to watch these signs and I need to be more sensitive. And next time when Maya come in, and I asked her to talk to her, and I said, Maya, why is it that every time when your grandfather runs and hugs you and kiss you, and when you're not feeling comfortable, why don't you tell him? She's just like, she was confused. She said, well, can I really tell him? I said to her, look, I'll teach you. You stand very strongly on your feet and you look in his eyes and just say to him in that moment, Grandpa, I'm not feeling huggable right now. I will come back to you when I feel huggable and we do that. But right now, please, can we not do it? Thank you. That's how you do it. So she got it straight away, and she starts to do it not only with grandfather but with everyone that is approaching to her and when she feels uncomfortable. Do you see where I'm coming, where I'm actually going? So if we invade the boundaries of our children, and children don't know if they have the right to say no to their loved ones, so they actually enduring the invasion, and then when they grow up, they gonna to endure invasion of the strangers. That's how we build distortions in our children lives. So, and I'm not talking that this is happening only to girls. It is happening to the boys as well. I start to remember that I also are guilty of that. When I run after my little grandchildren, boys, and hug them and kiss them and turn them around and do this. So I invite everyone to be really aware of this invasion that constantly happen, because children are so beautiful and they giving us so much love and they exchanging that energy, but at the age of when they building their own subtle bodies, it is really not the good time to do when you want it. You need to ask the permission from them to do it. So I shared with you a few stories from my own life, and I hope that maybe some of them are resonating with you, and some of them can show you and teach you and increase your awareness about how we see our children and how we behave in front of our children and what we do with them. So I have this teaching in my soon coming up, the Askara method, that I'm gonna to offer a 6 months program that the relationship and the conscious relationship with our children is part of that program. So if you're interested to learn more and deeper on how we can first look at ourselves, and first to learn how we can resolve and restore and heal our own distortions towards our own inner child, then we can improve and build real conscious, deep, honest relationship with our children. So I also, behind the scenes, I'm running my professional energy healing practice, where I work with one-to-one with people who wants to dive deeper into your inner landscape and see and become conscious of where your distortions are and where your blockages are, and how we can start with your inner landscape and how we can build that first before you start to build relationship with everyone around you. So I would like to finalize today's episode, and I would like to jump now on the comments and acknowledge all of you that is supporting me here. And thank you so much, MJ. I know you are in completely different time zone, and it's probably too late at your end, but I'm glad you're here. And Tatiana, I'm so happy you're here. You are supporting me. I'm so grateful. Living vicariously through our kids' life. Yes, I know we so much live in our own ego-oriented goals through our children, and we place so much our own emotional disability on our children. Angela, I'm so glad you're here. I'm just going through this with my son. Yes, I'm glad you're here, and hopefully that can give you some tips. MJ, this is very powerful story. You gave your son the opportunity to show you that you can trust him. That is so awesome. Yes, it was really, really hard. How many times I would judge myself about that. I trusted him, but I listened my inner voice. That is that trusting that voice, that that surrendering into that intuition that we all have. Mothers are protective of their kids. That is normal, and unfortunately, we can be a big helicopter hovering over them. Absolutely. We sometimes so protective of our children. We don't really teach them how they can take very small responsibilities. Like a small child of 4 or 5 can take a little responsibility of maybe bringing a milk from a fridge to the table, or helping to load a washing machine or something like that. I mean, there's so much in our households that we can involve our children and trust them and give them responsibility that they can do, and then give them the credit for it, or just love them the way they are. A lot of parents are so protective of even giving their children a little tasks. So I would like to say thank you so much of being with me here today and listening this very important episode, because if we build conscious, deep, honest relationship with our children, then we build our own future peace and harmony. Not only our own, we build future harmony to the whole humanity and to our planet Earth, because we then can provide or can model to our children how we all interconnected and how we all here to learn the lessons and go through this life with open mind. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again on Wednesday next week at 2 p.m. South Australian time. Thank you so much. Bye.